Hey there, Living Waters family. Drew here with another Soul Care Saturday video, and it just so happens to be Saturday, the 4th of July, our Independence Day. So happy 4th of July, everybody, although probably a strangely different 4th of July than what we're used to. Happy 4th of July regardless. Today I want to talk to you about a couple Proverbs that the Lord brought me to this week and what I believe the instruction for us in our relationship and our soul health is for this week. The first proverb is from Proverbs 12. It's Proverbs 12:25, and it says this: "An anxious heart weighs a man down, but a kind word cheers him up." Pretty simplistic, pretty direct and to the point. Proverbs 18:22 is the next one, and it says this: "The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat of its fruit." Now, the two of those things are specifically speaking about the words that we say and the effect that those words have. Obviously, when someone is anxious and downtrodden and burdened, and let's be honest, who in this time and space in our world isn't dealing with some level of anxiety, fear, or burden? It says that a kind word will cheer a man like that. Proverbs 22 reminds us of the words that we specifically speak have power for life and death, and when it says those who love it will eat of its fruit, meaning that whatever we speak and whatever way that we communicate, we're going to eat and consume the fruit of that. So if we speak life to people, if we use our words to bring life and encouragement and lighten burdened hearts, then we're going to eat the fruit of those words, meaning that will produce love, gentleness, kindness, peace, all those things, and we'll consume that. But if we speak things that are not life-giving, that are divisive, that are provocative, that are incendiary, that are hurtful, that are condescending, we're going to eat of that fruit too. And so the scriptures just remind us over and over again to be mindful of how we communicate and the fruit of that. Now, if we think about this in terms of what's important to the Lord, when he gave us instruction on this earth, he said a couple things. First thing he said is that all the law and the prophets can be summed up in this very thing: love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, your mind, your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And then he left us with one new command: love each other as I've loved you. And so when we combine those instructions with the reality that relationship and how we engage in relationship is of the utmost importance to God, and that how we speak has power of life and death, and that a kind word can lift an anxious heart, if we consider all these things together, there's a pretty beautiful instruction that comes out of those things. Basically, it's this: can we be people who speak kindly and speak life to others, and can we eat of that fruit as a community rather than eating of the fruit of divisiveness, condescension, judgment, sarcasm, all those things? Now, as I've been pondering this, and as I've been thinking through this and what to say on this, I think the timeliness of this coming out on the 4th of July and the timeliness of the season that we're in, I just want to give this challenge to us as a community. When we speak, are the words that we're speaking bringing comfort? Are they bringing freedom? Are they bringing encouragement? Are they highlighting the best? Are they encouraging the best? Are they seeking to understand and not just to be understood? What is the motivation and what is the fruit of the words that we're speaking? Now, I've seen a lot on social media, and I've seen a lot out in the world and how people address things, and some people would say we're in such a caustic and inflammatory and difficult season that any way we talk about this is just going to inflame people. Well, I don't agree with that. I think that there's absolutely ways to address difficult things and things that are not agreed upon, and we can do so in a spirit of love and kindness and gentleness and self-control and peace. And when we do that, we disarm people, and we make room for other opinion, and we listen with respect, and we impugn life and dignity onto those with opinions other than what we hold. When we choose to do this in a way that is gentle and loving and life-giving, it isn't required that the words we speak are in agreement with other people, or that we fully find common ground on everything, but it is in the way that we communicate that impugns life to a situation, not that we are fully agreeing. Does that make sense? I hope it does. You're not going to respond to me, so whatever. The reason why this is important relationally, and now everything always comes back to relationship, is that how we communicate either tells people that we want relationship, that we respect individuals, that we value other perspectives, even if we don't agree with them, that it creates an opportunity for dialogue and for mutuality in relationship. That is all established based on how we say what we say, not necessarily what we say. Because I can say to someone, I fully disagree with you. And I can do so in a way that is respectful and loving, or I can do so in a way that's condescending and dismissive. And if I do so in a way that's kind, loving, and respectful, that leaves room for more dialogue. But if I do it in a way that's disrespectful, condescending, rude, closed-minded, whatever it is, it shuts down conversation completely. And we don't want to be people who are like that. In fact, on this Independence Day, might I remind us that it's for freedom that we've been set free. It is for setting others free that we've been set free. It is for offering the peace and the freedom and the love and the truth of the gospel that we ourselves have received it, that we get to go give that back. And we only get to do that if we do so in kindness and truth. And so I guess the thing that I'm imploring today, and I'm asking as a challenge to our community, is that before we speak, can we check our motives and check our heart and ask ourselves, out of what spirit am I speaking the words that I'm speaking? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, when we do speak, when we do write, when we do post, can we ask ourselves afterwards, was this done in gentleness, kindness, and love? And was it done in a respectful and honoring way? Now, many of us might automatically go to like, well, what if people don't respect my opinion? Who cares? Who cares? If we're communicating, just asking if we're going to be respected, we're not moving in love. We're thinking more of ourselves than we are of the other person. And that's why it's so important to have mindfully, when we're communicating something, to say, how am I communicating? I want to know if I'm communicating in a way that can be received and in a way that has removed unnecessary obstacles, and that person is going to feel loved and heard, even if I'm not agreeing with them. That should be one of the filters that we look at when we're communicating, not whether or not we're going to be understood, because chances are we may never be. Or if we're going to be respected, because you know what? Sometimes we're not. Maybe it's just because I have a lot of experience in this, communicating on issues that I know the world is not going to agree with, and I know that many people are even going to villainize me for my perspective. That's not my responsibility, but my responsibility is, how am I communicating when I'm communicating? Am I doing so in a way that cheers and lifts people? Am I doing so in a way that brings life and not death? Am I doing so in a way that is humble and kind and respectful? Because when we do that, when we offer a kind word, it lifts anxious hearts. When we offer something lovingly and kindly, it sows life, not death. And we need to be people that do that in the season, because there's so much death being sown. There's so much unkindness being spoken. There's so much condescension and disrespect and lack of humility being communicated all the time on all ends of the spectrum. But can we be people who stand in direct contrast to that? That when we speak, the words that we speak bring life and comfort. And even if it's something that we're discussing that we know people won't agree on, is the spirit and the way in which we're communicating bringing life and comfort and understanding? If not, does it need to be said? It's a question and a challenge. I know that I live my life with this in my mind all the time. Not that I succeed in doing it, and not that we always have to succeed in doing it, but is it a value? Is it something we're pursuing? Because ultimately, again, this comes back to relationship, that comes back to healthy relationship. And when there's disrespect and condescension, there's not healthy relationship. Where there's kindness and love and deference, when we are loving people the way God loves us, when we are loving each other as God loves us, when we're loving each other as we love ourselves, that's when relationship can thrive, and that's when communication is actually effective and life-giving. So something to think about today. I hope you're all doing great. Love you all.